Hi guys, welcome. Ball Boys, we are back again with new content, new week, new content, and we are going to dive straight into it, dissecting the match week 20 that really left all of us excited, others not too excited, but we'll dive straight into it. So match week 20 began on Friday last week with a game against Aston Villa and Leeds United. And Aston Villa have really had a turnaround since Unai Emery came in, and we see this because Aston Villa have been able to record 4 wins in six under Unai Emery, and that shows that Unai Emery has really got this team going. So Leon Bailey um, scored the first goal for Aston Villa in the third minute. And Aston Villa, Aston Villa really seemed to be comfortable, but also Leeds came at them. And Patrick Bamford finally came out of his goal dry spell because he hadn't scored a goal in over a year. So he scored the solitary goal, or rather he scored the solitary goal for Leeds. And finally, Emiliano Buendia scored the winning goal for Aston Villa, and Aston Villa came out with a win. And that was 3 points for Unai Emery. So good job for Aston Villa. I think Unai Emery is doing well. Leeds have had more of a roller coaster. It's up and down for them because we see Jesse Marsh. In other games, like in the previous game, he got a draw against West Ham, and in the last 5 games, it's been a roller coaster for him. So Jesse Marsh really needs, with the return of people like Patrick Bamford, now really needs to get that team clicking again. But they're not in a bad position. They're in 14th with 17 points, but still not very safe from the relegation zone. Then Saturday, derby weekend began, and the biggest of them all, the Manchester derby. It was early kickoff, and as Wakenya and as Kenyans say that ogopa early kickoff, hii raundi ogopa early kickoff, because Manchester United, Manchester City was the early kickoff game. The game started off really well. Manchester United looked to defend really well against Manchester City, because we all know Manchester City are really good when it comes to playing in between the lines. So therefore, Man United were out to stop these guys from playing in between the lines. And we see that when we see how Fred was actually man-marking Kevin De Bruyne, and actually both players have got the number 17 on their jerseys. So imagine, like, one number 17 was chaperoning the other, if you know what chaperoning means. So you know who was chaperoning the other. But Fred really came out on top in that game when it comes to man-marking Kevin De Bruyne. It's not an easy task, because we all know what Kevin De Bruyne is all about, what he's capable of, his passing, he's intelligent in his play. Therefore, I think Fred did a good job in stopping him. And Man City had most of the possession, because if you look at it, Man City had over 70% possession. Manchester had around 30%, and they were comfortable, very comfortable, sitting back, not allowing Man City the chances and the open spaces. But against the run of play, if I may say so, Man City actually had, before they scored the goal, Man City had no shot on target. And by then, I think Man United had two. So for me, that was against the run of play, considering Man U had less possession to Man City. But Manchester United really did well, and the introduction of Jack Grealish, of course, changed the game. And Kevin De Bruyne, for once, was able to escape from the hands of Fred, and he was able to put a beautiful cross into the box, and Jack Grealish headed it in. And it was a beautiful goal. But then after that, Man United seemed or looked to come out and chase the game, and they did that really well. And we see, especially on the counter, they were quite dangerous, with Rashford making some really brilliant runs. And in this case, Rashford was offside, when a pass from the midfield, I think from Casemiro, if I'm not wrong, found Rashford in an offside position, but he didn't touch the ball. Of course, that has been a bone of contention since that match has been played, and we saw, of course, Bruno Fernandes scoring that goal. And if I may put my 2 cents into it, I think the rules, I don't know. I don't know if the football rules are changing every day, but if they are changing every day, then we need to have an update. We need to be told that these rules are changing and they are changing to this is what they were, and this is what are now there. And these are the rules now, because that Bruno Fernandes goal was a bone of contention, to be honest. And if you ask me, what I know the rule says is that if you are in an offside position and a pass has been played and you make an attempt towards that ball, already the linesman has to call that as an offside, right? And when the linesman calls that as an offside, the center referee should go with what the linesman has said. But in this case, the linesman, of course, raised the flag for an offside, but the interpretation that Rashford did not touch the ball, but he did make an attempt, right? He did make an attempt to go after the ball. There's a very thin line between, those two rules. And if the rule says that you can go after the ball and not touch it, and if any other player from your team who is not in an offside position touches the ball, or rather scores a goal, it's a goal because the player who was in an offside position did not touch the ball. I don't know about that. I don't know what to feel about that, but I am of the opinion that should have been called for an offside, because Rashford, to be honest, made an attempt to go for the ball. He didn't touch the ball, but he made an attempt. And the rule says if you make an attempt, then that should be called for an offside. But anyway, the goal was allowed. Bruno Fernandes scores the first goal. They equal the game. It's now on 1-1. Then Man United come at it, and now Alejandro Garnacho comes in. And Man United, after substituting Anthony Martial had a really poor game. But Alejandro Garnacho came in, and the impact was seen there and then. And Rashford was there for a tap-in. And Man United go ahead 2-1, and that was really the end of the game. And so Man United now closed the gap to 1 point between them and City, still in 4th place, but they've breached that gap. And yeah, kudos to Man United for taking away the 3 points for Manchester City. At least Manchester City now are not breathing so much on our necks. I am an Arsenal fan, so kudos to Man United for once. I was supporting these guys, but anyway, it's all for convenience. So then there were other subsequent games on that day. Brighton played Liverpool. Oh my goodness, what is happening to Liverpool? Liverpool were totally undone. Like, they were outclassed, outshined. Anything you'd want to describe that performance by Liverpool, you could say it, but Brighton really outclassed this team. Every Brighton player was having a good day, from the coach Roberto De Zerbi, or the manager, to all the 11 players on that pitch. They were having a really, really, really good time. And Solly March, of course, had the best of moments, scoring a brace, and oh my goodness, Ibrahima Konate, Joel Matip, they were playing. I don't know what is happening to Liverpool. They are unable to play from the back, and we know Liverpool playing a lot of direct football. They like to play the long passes, and then people like Mohamed Salah and Diogo Jota, who is in injury, and other players now, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Cody Gakpo, trying to run onto those long passes. But really, we couldn't see that happening. Liverpool's midfield was nullified. The midfield trio of Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, all that quality that we see in that midfield never came out in that game. Instead, Adam Lallana, Moises Caicedo, Pascal Gross came out on top. And Brighton, with Solly March scoring a brace, then I think at this point, Liverpool feel the game had run away from them. Of course, they had a few chances of their own as well. Then Evan Ferguson. Evan Ferguson, I have to talk about this young man. Evan Ferguson has, Roberto De Zerbi has definitely seen something with this guy, and we can definitely see it from the football he's playing. He has really good hold-up play. Apart from that, he's a good finisher as well. He's a good passer of the ball. And I think he has a great future when it comes to playing in English football. He has a really great future. So Evan Ferguson was finally substituted. Danny Welbeck came in. And what a way to put a cherry on the top. Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck scored what I'd describe as a Thierry Henry-esque goal. I don't know why, I don't know if to call that a nutmeg, but he just, touched the ball over a Liverpool defender, and what a finish from Danny Welbeck, coolly dispatching it into the near post, and Alisson Becker could not get anywhere near that ball. And if you describe it in other words, what a glossy finish to the game. So Danny Welbeck finally kills the game 3-0. Robert Sanchez keeps a clean sheet, and it's done and dusted. Moving on, I have to mention that was also a Cody Gakpo debut. Not a very good debut for Cody Gakpo, but I hope he brushes that off his mind and focuses on the next game in the next game week, and I'll talk about that. Then fifth win in 7 games, fifth win in a row in 7 games for Roberto De Zerbi. We can see all what Brighton is about. Attacking football, intense pressing, and that is what Roberto De Zerbi has brought into this Brighton team. Moving on, a game that was all about a relegation battle between Everton and Southampton. Everton are in 19th position. Southampton are in 20th position. They are in the last position. And Southampton have had a really good week. Actually, in 7 days, they've won 2 games. They won a game in the FA Cup where they beat Crystal Palace. Then they won in the Carabao Cup where they beat Manchester City. And now coming into this game, of course, Southampton were feeling very confident. So Southampton came into this game, of course, Everton being at Goodison Park, they had the home advantage, and they felt like they could do something. And truth be told, like they came out guns blazing, and Everton drew first blood in this game with Andrew Onana's header, a debut goal for him as well. Andrew Onana, he's been tremendous. I'd say in spite of Everton not playing really well, I think Andrew Onana has been one of those consistent players that has been good for them this season in midfield. So he scores his first goal for Everton. But then the game goes on, and from there it was just an unlucky day for Everton. It doesn't spiral down, but it was just an unlucky day because they hit the post with a deflected shot from Calvert-Lewin. They hit the crossbar, the under part of the crossbar, and they were just unlucky. So Ward-Prowse again, when he's called up for Southampton, trust me, he rises to the occasion. And in this game he did, with Ward-Prowse scoring a beautiful goal. Like, talk of composure, that was super composure from James Ward-Prowse, and he puts that or nestles that into the bottom right corner, and it's game on. And finally, Everton concede a free kick, and James Ward-Prowse, the free kick was in premium position, takes up the free kick, and voila. James Ward-Prowse does as he does it time and time again, scores a beautiful free kick, and it's now 2-1. I mean, and now Everton are trying to chase the game, and it's like what you'd call a wild goose chase. Like, you'd never catch these people, And Southampton really just edge it. And just to mention, that was a trademark 12. It was a 12 trademark free kick goal for James Ward-Prowse, because we've seen him do a lot of, or score a lot of these free kicks. Therefore, it's not something new. So it was the 12th trademark free kick goal for him. And actually, he's 2 free kicks shy of David Beckham's record. So you can be sure either this season or next season, but this season is like now halfway, so he still has, the rest half of the season to try and, break David Beckham's record of having scored the most free kicks in the English Premier League. Moving on, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have had a really good turnaround, and they were playing Leicester. Leicester, oh my goodness, are having a terrible season. Brendan Rodgers, if you don't get sacked, I don't know what will happen. I don't know. I don't know what's the criteria for you being sacked, but you need to go Brendan Rodgers because the team is not playing well at all. And Leicester City were beaten. A clean sheet. I mean, at the end of the day, just imagine a clean sheet. That's a painful way to lose. So a clean sheet. Nottingham Forest kept a clean sheet. Brennan Johnson with a brace, and Morgan Gibbs-White with a brace as well for the assist. And Forest are now in 13th position. That's quite a turnaround. So big up to Steve Cooper for that. I think he's now slowly getting them out of the relegation zone and getting them into the safe zone, which is not a bad place to be for the Forest guys. Moving on swiftly, we also had another relegation battle between Wolves and West Ham United. Wolves, since Julen Lopetegui came in, seem to have had a turnaround. They've in the previous 2 or 3 games, they've edged it really close, like 1-0 wins. But what matters is the 3 points. And Julen Lopetegui seems to be doing something good with the team. And now, like the injuries they had, Raul Jimenez now coming back from injury, and now they have more options in attack. Daniel Podence is in good form. He scored the goal actually, and they are doing well. West Ham United, just unlucky. David Moyes, I don't know what you have to say. 7th straight defeat. Just imagine that. 7th straight defeat. They are now sitting in 18th position with 15 points. Crazy, man. West Ham United, I don't know what is happening. Just the other day, 3 seasons ago, you guys were in contention for top 4. You even made it to the Europa League. Now look at you. You're almost relegated. My goodness. You just have to be here to witness this. The league, the Premier League, and I have to say the Premier League is the best league ever. English Premier League, the best league ever. Moving on swiftly, Brentford against Bournemouth. Bournemouth, meh. They're just meh. They're just there. Brentford, of course, Ivan Toney with he was back in this game, scored a penalty, coolly dispatched it. Then Matthias Jensen, of course, put the cherry on top with a good finish in the last minutes of the game. And Brentford edged it 2-0. Thomas Frank doing really well. Brentford now sitting at 8th position with 29 points, which is not bad, actually, this is the best start Brentford have had in 86 years. Just imagine, 86 years. Like when some of your grandfathers and grandmothers were being born or were like young children. That is the last time Brentford had such a run in the Premier League. 86 years. So kudos to Brentford. Top 10, doing well. Moving on, Chelsea against Crystal Palace, another London derby. Crystal Palace are not in really good form. I think Vieira has also had kind of a roller coaster season, and I feel if he continues to lose points like he's doing, he might find himself in not a very good position. And I feel like he has very talented players. Wilfried Zaha, of course, Wilfried Zaha's game in the last few games has really gone down a bit. And other players, Michael Olise, he had players like Tariq Mitchell returned, Mark Gehi, but still, they were still unable to edge it. I mean, they were just unlucky, just like in the Tottenham game. When they were beaten 4-0 by Tottenham, that scoreline doesn't really tell what the game was all about. Because Palace also had their chances, but they were unable to take the chances. They are creating chances, but they are unable to finish. And this is my issue with Vieira. Vieira has a striker, good striker, a striker who's, has good physical presence, he's good in the air, in Odson Edward. And every other time he's starting Jordan Ayew, and Jordan Ayew seems to do nothing at all. You understand? So I don't understand Vieira's decision of benching Odson Edward, because I feel like Odson Edward should be starting at the center, being the center forward, then Zaha on one wing, and maybe Eze or Michael Olise on the other. Jordan Ayew right now should not be starting. Odson Edward should be starting the games. So, Patrice Vieira, if you see this video, kindly think about that. Yeah. But Chelsea edged it. Kai Havertz missing a few sitters, 2-3 chances that he should have converted. I think Kai Havertz should have had like a hat-trick, but he scored a goal. A cool header. Yeah, but also Kepa Arrizabalaga was their man of the match. He made a few saves, a shot from Michael Olise, Doucouré as well, tested him. And yeah, Kepa Arrizabalaga has been good for them in the last few games. So yeah, Kepa Arrizabalaga really kept them in that game. But Chelsea were not very convincing for me, but they edged it 3 points. Graham Potter at least still 10th with 28 points. So yeah, but that's Chelsea for you. And Chelsea, I don't know what really Mykhailo Mudryk saw. I'm wondering, does he like the project of being 10th? I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. But Mykhailo Mudryk made the choice to move to Chelsea, and he wasn't. Of course, he didn't make the debut. He was sitting in the stands, but he's now a Chelsea player. Joao Felix, of course, didn't feature in that game, having received a straight red card in the previous game. So he was out on suspension. Then Newcastle Fulham. Oh, this was a very hard game. Very, very, very hard. And the scoreline proves that way, because Bernard Leno was fantastic on the day, making saves. Of course, Newcastle are an attacking threat going forward, with Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär making the overlapping runs. We also have the likes of Callum Wilson. Also, Saint Maximan was back. Alexander Isak also he also featured in the game when he came on as a substitute. And actually, having come on as a substitute, oh, what a change, because Eddie Howe, that change really did work wonders, because Alexander Isak scored the winning goal in the 89th minute, and Newcastle were able to edge it, and they won the game 1-0. But of course, there was controversy in that game when Kieran Trippier brought Bobby De Cordova-Reid down in the penalty box, and Fulham got a penalty. Then Alexander Mitrovic, as he took the penalty, he slipped, and like he hit the ball onto one foot, and like he deflected the penalty onto his own foot. How weird that is. I mean, how can that just happen? He slipped, and that was a free kick for Newcastle. But this is the other issue I have with these refereeing and these decisions. No player or no striker, when they're about to take a penalty, would do that intentionally. I think Mitrovic should have had a second chance, because everyone is bound to sleeping. Everyone is bound to make such a mistake. I think that penalty should have been retaken, according to me, because just giving the free kick, I feel that was too harsh, too unfair for Fulham, but they lost the game. And yeah, Nick Pope kept 8th straight clean sheet of this season, and he's doing well. And unfortunately, Marco Silva's five-game winning streak was ended by that Newcastle win. And finally, the crowning to the derby weekend, the final game of the weekend, the North London derby. And we know now that North London is red, redder than red. North London, sorry about that. North London is red again and again. We made a statement that North London is red and will always be red, and has always been red. And we saw that Tottenham, of course, on the day didn't turn up, especially in the first half. Bukayo Saka with a cross that Hugo Lloris deflected into his own post. And Hugo Lloris gave us our first lead of the game. And from there, Arsenal really pushed and pushed and pushed. Oh my goodness. I have to talk about this. Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey. Hey, he's actually not arguably, and I'm saying this, by the way, kujeni mnichape. Thomas Partey is the best central defensive midfielder in the Premier League right now. He's the best. Like no one tops him right now. Thomas Partey is doing things, you're looking at that player and I wish we had this player in our team. And I'm thinking, if it was Casemiro or Rodri who is doing the things Partey is doing, his passing range is excellent, his tackling is brilliant, he's good in the air, he can take shots, like he's a literal full package. Thomas Partey with an effort, stinging effort that hit the crossbar. It came off his shin, but it's like, it would have been like it would have been obscene. That shot, oh my goodness, better than even the shot that he took in the first North London derby. This one was stinging. Like Lloris was nowhere near it, but it hit the post and it came off the post, and he was just unlucky. But Odegaard, Captain Fantastic, doing the thing. He was named Player of the Month, still continuing in that form. And yeah, Martin Odegaard. It was a sweeping counter after Hugo Lloris, took a goal kick and we dispossessed them, and all of a sudden sweeping counter to Thomas Partey to Bukayo Saka to Martin Odegaard sizes the goalkeeper and he takes a shot, and it's a grass cutter in the bottom corner, and Arsenal have their second goal. And 45 minutes in, Arsenal lead at the break. We come in for the second half. Of course, Conte gave them a serious pep talk because Tottenham came out guns blazing once again. But the Gunners were there, to keep their guns at bay. And, we really just took the sting out of their attack. And Aaron Ramsdale really had to get man of the match because he made a bunch of saves. And if I could pick one out of the bunch, like the best save he made, was that Ryan Sessegnon save. Especially just at the beginning of the second half. That save really kept us in the game, because just imagine the intensity that Tottenham came in with in the second half. Just imagine if Ryan Sessegnon had scored that goal in the beginning of the second half. Tottenham would have had so much time to get an equalizer and even maybe a winning goal. So that save really kept us in the game. And a few more saves, where he saved in the first half. He saved one from Kane and another from Heung-min Son. And in the second half, he also saved another one from Kane. And in the last minutes, another one from Richarlison. He was just having a good day, Aaron Ramsdale. And as they call him in the Arsenal dressing room, Rambo was doing that thing. So yeah, good job to Aaron Ramsdale, a man of the match for the day, but Odegaard was really close to getting that. But yeah, beautiful. And Arsenal lead, still top of the table, 47 points, 8 points clear of Man City, 9 points clear of Man United, that are being considered real title contenders. And I wonder, 9 points clear. 9 points clear of the real title contenders, and you wonder how Man United are being considered title contenders. Anyway, but do I say Arsenal, we are doing the thing, and yeah, now we just wait for the weekend game against Man United, and North London is red, and we are coming to paint the city of Manchester red, like the Arsenal red, no, not the Man U red, the Arsenal red. So guys, thank you so much. That was all I had for today. That was our review, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the coming games. We have games in midweek, we have games in in the coming weekend. Sorry about that. So we really can't wait. Like, it's football after football after football. And I hope you continue enjoying the content. And bye, guys. See you in the next video. Cheers.